Welcome everybody to the SNL In Season podcast. I am your commissioner KxngTrizz, along with my co-host
Slick, self-appointed assistant commissioner.
Haha, yeah, self-appointed assistant commissioner. I like that. All right, man. So we just want to thank you guys for being here with us, man. Thank you guys for being part of the league. This is something that we really wanted to do, and we found an opportunity to do it right now. We are going to use this moment or this podcast to highlight everything going on for the league for the next 14 weeks, man. Actually, 18, 17 weeks, because we're going deep into the playoff with this. So thank you guys for being with us, man. So first and foremost, uh, we want to introduce everybody. This season we have a 10-man league. Some of us has played together before, some of us haven't. And as just a cool group of friends, we wanted to come together and create a really awesome league, man. And here we are with the Saturday Night Boys. Saturday Night League. All right, man. So we got two divisions, man. 10 players each. We have the West Division. She loved it when I touched down with the owner, Clef Millie. Pico de Guapo, owner, Rolani. Thelonious Punt, owner, Philip. KxngTrizz, your one and only. Owner.
This guy.
And then Team Donnie, the owner, Donette. And that's for the West. Ricky, you want to introduce the East?
Yeah. So we got the East Division. We got Central C. Team manager is Shea Glasgow. We got myself, Slick. We got C. Blizzy, managed by Connor Ogier. We got Houston Boy, managed by Chris Godfrey. And we have Them Boys, managed by Tyler Ogier.
All right. All right, let's get straight into it, man. This first week was an amazing week. A lot of action happened. A lot of uh-ohs and close misses. But let's just get into it, man, with the standings for this week. The current league standings is, by everyone's surprise, except for him, Clef with She Loves It When I Touch Down as the number one position in the league.
Right.
He had a really good week. Really consistent players. He had, I think, 4 players hitting 20 points.
That's all you can ask for. 4 players hitting 20. That's a formula to win. He put up 144.5 points. That's tough to beat, even on anyone else's best day. So it'd be interesting to see how his team takes it the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely, man. And right behind him, we have as the leader of the East, because the way this league is set up is if you're first in your division, that's automatically 1 and 2. So Central C,
the villain of the league. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Very much so. Oh yeah, we'll get into that. He scored 132 points this week, which is actually pretty good. This is ideally from my history in fantasy football. I think you want to average about 120, 125, and once you're there, you might have a really good season. So starting off with 132, that's really good.
Next up, we have Pico de Guapo, a.k.a. Dave. Shout out Jet Life. He has put up 143 points on week 1. That is also a good amount of points, but not enough to get him at least into second place, just based off of... What is that based off of? I see Central C is ahead of him.
Central C is ahead of him because he's the leader in his division.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
We're going to put division leaders first, and then we'll...
Yep.
Gotcha. And then next up, we have myself, Team Slick. We got 105 points. We'll get into that later as to why that is, but I think I'm sitting comfortably right now.
And in 5th place, we have Thelonious Punt. Now, this is crazy, right? Thelonious Punt scored 96 points this week and is sitting in the win column.
Yeah.
And, so it just goes to show, man, like sometimes even when you have bad weeks, your opponent could have worse weeks and you could be a victor. So moving on to 6, which is your boy KxngTrizz. I lost this week, but I did not do terrible. I just happened to win up against Cleef, who had
Right.
like the best
Right.
week opener he could have. And so, yeah, I mean, there's nothing for me to feel ashamed about. I put up 137 points, which is respectable. That's more than everybody in the East. So, yeah.
But
And
also
we
that
go.
you're rounding out the last spot of the playoffs. Because
Yeah,
we have top 6 make the playoffs. So as of right now, you're currently at the bottom, but that's not the full story because, as you said, you had a loss, but you did put up a lot of points, which is why you are ahead of 7th place, C Blizzy. He had a great game with Pico de Guapo, but he just couldn't close it out.
and eighth place we got Houston boy, C Godfrey. He scored 110 points. Not terrible, but not great, but good enough to win some weeks. Not great enough sometimes. It's just a pretty average stat line. And last place we got them boys. Yeah,
Nah, I think you
this one
skipped
was.
Team Donnie. Don't forget Team Donnie at 9.
Oh right, you're
Team
right, you're
Donnie at
right.
9. I feel like she's a team to not sleep on. Her 93 points isn't a reflection of what she can do. We've seen her play in other leagues. She does have a formula to win. We just believe that week 1 might have been a fluke for her. But I think it's a team to watch.
Definitely, it definitely is a team to watch. And going on to the last place in the league is your boy Dem Boys by Tyler. Tyler talked a lot of trash in the group chat this week and
Yes, he did.
came up short.
Came up short.
Did
Can't
he have
back
Joe?
up your talk.
Did he have Joe Burrow?
He did have Joe Burrow, you know?
Yeah, Joe Burrow gave him at 9 points, man, and that's not good for a quarterback
Not good at all. But here's the
who
thing.
played the full game.
Even if, let's say, because Tyler was saying that, oh, I lost because Joe Burrow, this, that, and the third. But let's be real, all right? Because he played me. If Joe Burrow gave him 20 extra more points, right? So to give him 30 points, he's only putting up 104 points. That's still 1 point shy before under me, who had a quarterback who was injured that gave me 0 points. Even if he did score 30 more points to give him 40 points, he's only putting up what is that? 114? 114 isn't a formula to win in this league. So I think he has a lot of work to be put on in his team. He has to do some changes so he can
Yeah.
get on the winning side.
Yeah, he got to hit that waivers, man.
Yeah,
that
gotta hit the
make
waivers.
changes, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, drop Joe Burrow so I can pick him up. Nah, I don't want him. I don't want him.
Yeah, no, anybody want him.
Nobody wants him. Okay, so we've already went for the league rankings. We already went to the division rankings. We can see that one division is actually much tougher than the others, and that is important because ideally you want to be in the weaker division if you want to like force yourself into a playoff spot or the second playoff spot. The West is a very strong division right now. We have three people hit over 130.
Right.
And even though we had 2 people score below 100, they were 96 and 93. On the East side, you only had 2 people hit over 130, and an 84 and a 105 and a 110. So I didn't add up the numbers, but clearly the West is they got heavy hitters on the West. So
Yes, they do.
yeah, man, it's gonna be tough to get out of that division. It really
It
is.
might be tough, but I'm glad that I'm on the East Division. I feed off of mediocrity in fantasy football. I just do enough to win, and that's all it needs. That's all it takes. And I'm just waiting for Central C, the villain of the league, to drop off. I don't believe his week 1 is gonna translate into week 2, week 3, week 4. I don't believe so. He runs his mouth too much. He's too smart for his own good. And, I believe he has a solid place in 3rd place.
That's wild. All right. Well, here's a question for you, man.
Yeah.
Who would you highlight? Who would be your highlight of the week when it comes to a team and a player?
team and player.
Yeah.
Um, my highlight for the team has to be She Loved When I Touched Down with Cleef. He has
Right.
four
Right.
players going over 20. That's, again, like I said, that's the formula to win. He drafted
Mm-hmm.
well. He showed us that he understands football. He understands players. He understands positions. Pause.
Hey yo.
But yeah, no, he drafted well, and it showed week one. He has players on his team that can you have to look out for every week if you're his opponent.
Yeah.
And I want to
He has
say,
Justin Jefferson.
right?
Yeah, you got Justin Jefferson. He has Calvin Ridley, who missed the whole of last year. He's a
Right.
pretty good receiver. Came back as a number one option. Like that's wild. That is wild. And Trevor Lawrence, man.
Yeah.
So he has some good players. He has some good players.
Yes, he does. And even without Trevor Lawrence, he had one person that I count in the mix that hit 19 points. Let me just see. Let me go back to week one. Chris Olave.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chris Olave, yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
want to count that, that's 5 players in 20. That's tough to beat. Tough to
That's
beat.
big, that's tough to beat, man. That really is tough to beat. He chose well, and we'll see if he can keep this up. I would say that my highlight of the week would be Pico de Guapo, and the reason is because at the draft he had the worst team
Yeah.
statistically at the draft, and he scored 143. So you never know, man. Like the thing about fantasy is it's luck at the end of the day. Sometimes somebody could be an all-time great and they could just have a trash season, and you could have guys who were not really that good in previous season, and this is their breakout season. So he's my highlight of the week, along with the player highlight. I'm gonna go
Gotta
with
go with
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek. Exactly. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. The good thing is I had Tyreek Hill, and he brought me up. He gave me 44 points, man, and I wish that I had another. I wish my kicker or my defense gave me exactly what I wanted to win. But either way, like I said, I scored 137 points. I'm not going to cry over that. Tyreek is consistent. I know I may get another couple 40-point games from him this season. I know that for a fact.
100%. He has a few of those games in him. I think he has at least maybe 4 or 5 more 200-yard. I believe he could be the leading receiver in yardage in the NFL.
I think he will be, man. I think he will be.
But
All right,
speaking of,
let's go over to.
go ahead,
Go ahead.
hold up. Speaking of Pico de Guapo, we have that was my highlight, the game of the week. Him, Pico de Guapo versus C Blizzy. Man, that came down to the wire. But that punt return at the end of the Jets game really pushed Pico to the win column.
Yeah. Nah, man, that was he had a good week. He had a good week. All right, moving on to the low lights, man. Who do you think is your low light team and player of the week?
Low light team and player. Low light team has to go to them boys, man.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, even if Joe Burrow gives him more points, he's not even cracking 115, and that's not going to get you anywhere in this league.
Right.
And that also goes to my low light player is Joe Burrow. I don't know why he struggled so much. Maybe it's the new contract. He's getting scared feet.
That money,
Doesn't
man.
want to get injured so he can get that money. Yeah, exactly, that money,
Yeah.
that guaranteed. So it could be that. It could be maybe he just sucks this year, But hopefully, that's for them boys to figure out.
Definitely, yeah. I think I would agree with you. That's my low light. Them boys, definitely Joe Burrow, not doing good. Not a lot of players doing good overall for him. Yeah, man.
I see that he doesn't have a single player giving him at least 15 points.
Not at all, bro. Like he's tight. He needs a tight end. He does not have a tight end.
He does
man.
need a tight end.
He needs a tight end. His defense actually.
He
did
needs a
pretty good.
flex.
He definitely needs some flexes, man. And Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry's gonna be on a down season, bro. I think he's been good.
You think so?
I think so because I personally believe like running backs have a good 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
If they break out in their rookie or the second year, you count 5 years from there. Derrick Henry's how many years in the league, man? 7, 8.
I don't know,
I don't know, but I don't.
It's not enough for for them boys.
Not
At least
enough,
week
man.
one. Maybe it's a week one slump. Maybe these veterans don't get a lot of playing time in the preseason.
Yeah, could be.
But maybe their body needs to get warmed up. Pause.
Yeah, hey, yo.
So, but yeah, we'll see week two. He has a matchup week two. I don't know who it's against, but again, I'm only worried about my team and my team only. That can only get better from now on because, like I said, I didn't have a quarterback last week. Probably would have been in the 130s. So, people thought I was crazy for drafting 2 quarterbacks. But here I am, needing the second one. Here I am, relying on my kicker, where other teams like KxngTrizz losing because of kickers.
Hey, man.
It is what it is.
That sucked, man. My kicker gave me. You know what I realized going back, because I really didn't pay attention to that game. Going back and looking at it, he got injured on the first kick block.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it wasn't really, him and just.
It wasn't really him missing.
Yeah. So he got blocked. First kick got blocked. He got injured. He had some quad issues, and then he just couldn't kick for the second one, man. And given the fact the team was so bad, there wasn't even much opportunities for him to kick anyway. So
Right.
that was New York getting their back blown out by Dallas, by the way.
Yo.
Pause of all in New York, man. All in New York got to get paused, man. All of y'all. Anyway, so moving on to the last segment, man. Which matchup do you think is your key matchup for next week?
Key matchup for next week.
Yeah.
Let me just pull up the schedule here. There we go. For me, I think it's two games that I'm looking at.
All right.
I'm looking at She Love When I Touchdown and Team Donnie. Like I said, Donnie knows what she's doing. She's proved herself in previous leagues. It could be a bad week one for her, but I also want to see if She Love When I Touchdown can keep it up for a second week. Right. Maybe it was a fluke that those 4 or 5 players reached 20 points, but that's a great way for him to prove himself as a GM. And to see if the team that he put together is in fact viable. And my second one is it has to be the rivalry that goes back 3 leagues ago with myself and you with Slick and KxngTrizz.
Yeah.
I'm circling that anytime I play KxngTrizz. It's the Super Bowl. He's had my number for a few years.
I think you've.
I've had his lately.
Yeah, last season, man. That's when you got me. Finally.
But I feel like my team is trending up versus KxngTrizz. So that's what I'm circling. That's the Saturday night. That's the Sunday night. That's the Monday night, Thursday night football game. That's prime time.
That's prime time. That's good, man. I think the key matchup for me is Pico de Guapo and Thelonious Punt. And the reason why I believe that's the key matchup because they both have wins. So somebody's leaving that 1-1 and somebody's leaving that 2-0, which is a good position to be
right.
in.
Yes, it is.
So that's the key matchup. They're pretty much evenly matched when it comes down to the projections. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for that one. Another matchup I think that'd be cool was obviously since it's a villain of the league, Central C versus them boys. If them boys comes back and drops Central C, boy,
everybody in the league is gonna rejoice.
Hey, it's gonna be good because already Central C is talking trash, man. That man been out here just slandering everybody's names every day. So we'll see how that matchup turns out, man. So that's the key matchups I have going into next week.
So we had some people make some waiver moves. Everything went through today. Teams either got what they wanted or didn't get what they wanted. We'll see what they can do with what they got going into week 2.
Yeah, man. Week two is going to be a defining moment. Week 2 is going to solidify. I believe it's going to solidify the teams who are about it, and it's going to show the teams who are not about it. So,
right.
Yeah, man. Let's pretty excited for this, man. So, this has been the SNL Season Pod, Episode 1 for Week 1. And we'll see you guys next week, man.